Namaste, beloved ones, and welcome. Welcome to Shri and Kira Live. I am wisdom teacher Shri Ram Ka.
And I am Master Lady Kira Ra, and we are so grateful to be here with you today, right now. You know, before we go any further, Shri is going to go ahead and start us all with an evasive breath and some mantras of self-ascension to pull us together. So bring your hands to your heart and let's come together in this beautiful moment.
So, beloved ones, as we have our hands on our heart, taking in one relaxing breath, we remind ourselves that presence and present time is where the magic happens. And now bring your attention to the Ave on the inhale, the recognition of the divine energy, and the Sa on the exhale, the release, the surrender to that energy. Let's do this together. A big breath in, Ave. Sa. You got it. 2 more times. Ave. Sa. And Ave. Sa. Beautiful.
Always a smile. Remember, always a smile on that exhale. Shri, why don't you guide us in a mantra of self-ascension?
So, beloved ones, as we're enjoying the space of our beingness, let us come together with the trust in the divine nature of what is.
Yes.
Repeating after me, I am here.
Yo soy aquí.
I am ready.
Yo soy lista.
I am open.
Yo soy abrir.
Guide me.
Guíame.
I am here.
Yo soy aquí.
I am ready.
Yo soy lista.
I am open.
Yo soy abrir.
Guide me.
Guíame. With a smile. And let us call forward this moment in February. Wow, right? So let's go right to the February up-level calendar. Shri, I'm going to ask you to please put that up for us. And as we do, what we are noticing, or I'll wait till it's actually being shared.
It's not up yet.
Okay, what's going to be happening, and I really encourage you, if you don't have your own copy of the up-level calendar for 2022, number one, why not? And number two, you can grab it at shriandkira.com. So as you're staring at this right now, let's first celebrate last Thursday, right? That Mercury retrograde, that massive Mercury retrograde has completed. And for those of you that we were honored to be with on our Miracle Team journey yesterday, just a reminder, if you look at yesterday, February 5, you can see that it was the only day this month where we were really out in the universe, able to gaze and pay attention under the energy of that golden full moon. And that golden full moon energy is influencing the entire year. Remember, this is going to be like 12 strikes of a bell, with that next one coming next week. So what's going on this week as we stare at the February calendar? Well, the first thing you're noticing is that this week, the 6th through the 12th, is the moment to dive deeply into the crystalline essence of your divine nature. This month heralds the first of 2 consecutive crystalline full moon moments. And I'm using the word moment. They're both standing alone, but together they are one moment. And until we arrive at the 16th of this month, and I'm going to go ahead. How do I share here, Shri? There we are. Okay, I want you to go ahead and please show that one. There we are. So remember that here is the blessing of February and 2022 together. 2022 is the 6 plus the infinite. And the 6 plus the infinite is all about the Merkaba energy. Now, what you're gazing at here, this is the Merkaba of Self-Ascension. And the Merkaba of Self-Ascension is basically your body on self-ascension. It's basically the way that our physical body comes forward when we stabilize our chakra in the energy of our infinite nature. However, what's important to notice right here is that center. You notice that upward pyramid of that golden energy. 2022 is all about energy. And remember that energy is always neutral. What makes 2022 so extraordinary, and especially this first full week of crystalline ignition in a 2-month process, which is right now, is that co-creative power, the power of knowing together we are better, the power that says yes, the power that says the I is the illusion of this realm, the moment to look at that ego that is trying to control everything, the ego that says I know better, the ego that tries to say but, right? The one that will go screaming into the night before it will let you rise. That's the co-creative power before us, and it's for the entire year. And then you notice that that's anchored with momentum. It's energy, it's co-creative power, and it's momentum. Now, this is so big for 2022. I mean, it is so massive that the first bang of our gong was that howling voice, that powerful rising voice moon of January, that first full moon that carried in these energies. And right now, this very moment between right now and February 16, before that first of the 2 harmonic crystalline moons in a row rises, we are still navigating whether or not humanity can survive dogma. Now, this brings us back to something that's so important for us to talk about right now, and that is the 7 polarities of free will. Sheree, would you share that for us, please?
Yeah, one second, let me dig it out.
Okay. Once he digs that out, I'm sorry, guys. I thought we had that up already. So the 7 polarities of free will is very much about this moment. Remember that you didn't open it, honey bunny. It just clicked. Yeah, right there. You have to double click on that one. There you go. Okay, let me show you the chart while we're sharing, because for those of you that don't understand about the 7 polarities of free will, let's take a minute and go back and look at this, because it really affects us this week, this month, this year. Remember that 2022 is the top of the escalator. If you look at the 7 polarities of free will, Sheree and I put this out in very early January 2015. We put this out to the world, and everything that we put out then, that we were guided, that I was guided to put into this chart, has come forward with complete accuracy. And that's not what this is about. What it's about right now is remembering that on the left, you see there is that density force of destruction. This is just the constant force and density, and it's all about fear. And then if you go all the way to the right, there is that force of, check out that word, co-creation. Yes. What was at the top? I'm going to go ahead and stop this share for a moment, and I'm going to go back right now and share again what was at the top of this year. Co-creative power. The power of co-creation has never been greater. And what's important to remember is that 2022, as that 6 plus the infinite energy, is looking at you and saying, how are you going to use your power of co-creation? Are you going to do things the way you've always done them? Are you going to stay in the same old loop? Or are you going to be stuck between fear and trust? Or can together as humanity, we harvest the lessons of the 7-year movement, right? Remember, we were on Sheree and I called it the Ascension Escalator. Can we harvest those lessons? That's where we're at this week.
Absolutely. And one of the things to remember is all of the qualities that are identified here, they exist. Right. And the question is, where do we put our energy? What do we co-create with? Are we co-creating with financial and fears? Are we co-creating with an instability? Or are we co-creating with love and compassion? Are we trusting flow and the abundance that is the nature of our universe?
Now, let's look just at last year, right? And if you look right down at the bottom of this chart, you'll notice that the 7th year of that Ascension Escalator was 2021. 2021 was also the year where concentric dimensionality first came in, and that's why the energies of lack and abundance are playing so starkly. Remember that those 2 middle columns there, the density energy and the ascended energy, are the aspects of either fear or trust. And so when we look at 2021, it was all about lack or abundance, and arriving at our crown chakra as a ascended presence among all beings. Remember that the crown chakra also, Shri, why don't you talk about what else from the density level in our crown chakra? There's a lot of physical stuff sitting there, isn't there?
Well, absolutely, because the traditional seven chakra system that is associated with this human body, the seventh chakra is the chakra of wisdom. It's the chakra of connecting to divine inspiration.
When it's inspired.
When it's inspired. However, it also overlays into the physical systems of our body, and that includes your pineal. It includes the whole brain structure and what is the brain organized around. If we open our seventh chakra and we are connected to a flow of divine wisdom, then our entire cerebral system, our central nervous system, begins to align with divine trust, because that's our flow. And if we close that down, then what we're left with is a recycling of old pictures.
Now, I want to stop right here because this is where we want to dive in. And I believe that Jess is over there at the chat for those of you tuning in over at YouTube. If you have questions about this material, she's going to be letting us know. So you would want to put them into the chat and we'll do our best to handle them while we're live on the air with you. Because let's talk about that recycling of the brain issues. So why am I bringing this up right now? You're like, well, Kira, 2022, we've known it was the 6 plus the infinite. Why today? Why this week? Well, remember, February 2022 is actually a little mini model. If someone was to say, give me a micro of 2022,
I want a sample.
Give me a sample. Let me put everything together. February 2022 in its totality is the 6 plus the infinite again. And so this is a very powerful moment, especially since this very week we are just entering into that moment of floating from can humanity survive dogma into, and we'll be talking about this on the air next week, so you really want to be here next week, into what's going to happen next week when that full moon on the 16th initiates another round of energy. So co-creation energy. Let's go back right now, and I want to share, as Shri and I are exploring this more with you, I really want to offer to you once again just what 2022 itself is. So as you're gazing at this graphic right here, and again, if you have the calendar, and I really encourage you to get it, you already have these graphics, but this is the graphic without any words on it. This is the 2022 energy flow. It's all about walking into the I. And what is the I? The I is the center of that which you are. It is the expansion of consciousness itself. And you'll notice that that beautiful energy is floating as this beautiful illuminated bubble of presence on the Sea of Neutrality. This is the miracle of 2022. The fact that the Sea of Neutrality itself has been birthed. That means that together as lineage holders, together as those that are saying yes to the expansion of consciousness outside of the individuated ego that will go kicking and screaming, thinking it's so important.
Yes.
That is how we have been able to initiate the Sea of Neutrality. So when we gaze at our co-creative momentum, it will always bring us back to fear or trust. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I always go back, Shri, to something Archangel Zadkiel shared with us so often, which is that in the realms of ascended presence, trust and love are the exact same energy. Yep. It's only because we carry an emotional body that we perceive the need to individuate trust. We take trust and we break it down into all these little components, and then all those other components come forward, including doubt. Yes. Because what is the opposite of trust? It's doubt. And fear breeds in doubt. So this is a profound moment for humanity in March, and it's a profound week of extremely the only word I want to use is potent mastery experience. And this is why, Shri, we should talk about tomorrow night, because if, are you part of Monday Magic, lineage holders? Because tomorrow night we have to jump, just letting you know. So all of you that are going to be at Monday Magic tomorrow night, get ready for the jump. We're in the middle right now of a masterful divine attunement up level, and Monday Magic, we are bringing in some profound information from the ascended realms that will only be given during our Monday Magic experiences. And Monday Magic is where we are going to be doing all of our lineage holder jumps this year. So if you are not part of Monday Magic, number one, why not? It's only 2 Mondays a month. And if you're a lineage holder, your presence matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a number of things that I want to expand upon.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
I'm going to see if we have any questions, because I know we're grabbing those questions from YouTube.
So first off, to just wrap this up a little bit, Monday Magic
Please.
is indeed an opportunity to join together with a more profound investment of your energy in the process. This is not a just sit back and listen, though you can. It's an opportunity to participate.
It's an up close and personal, registered only Zoom experience. Shri and I will not be broadcasting this outside of the Zoom because it's just too sacred.
And so, yes, when you join us, you receive the link, you'll receive the PDFs and printed information and the private chat on Zoom. And Monday Magic is our gift of service to the world. And your contributions support Clinic Linda and outreach for free pain clinics around the world. We are expanding. And we know that a world that has less pain is a world that's more response able.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so coming back also to the fear and trust dynamic, one of the things I just want to instill upon that discernment filter that you carry, remember, the mind is your servant, not your commander. and when we have shut down divine trust, we're left with nothing more than the recycling of thoughts that get influenced by all kinds of fear-based motivations. And so it's very easy to get wrapped up into all kinds of fear-based thinking you're being rational. But in fact, the entire motivation for gripping what you're calling rationality is fear.
And that's actually based on everything you've ever thought was true. It's that, I will share that I'm so blessed to meet so many people as Shri and I are. And we have a question that came in as well, Shri, first question we're addressing today that really kind of ties into this as well. So as Shri was just sharing, let's go back and look at the 7 polarities of free will. And I want to talk about the chakras first, because the question that came in and said, well, okay, if there's a new chakra system, what is the root? Well, we've been teaching this for 20 years. So welcome to the club. I'm glad you're here. It must be a first timer asking the question. So thank you. So let's talk about what that means. Over the past 7 years, humanity, up until 2022, was literally revisiting, stabilizing, and ascending through all of the traditional energies. And that's why I put the 7 polarities of free will chart up again, so that you could see that over those past years, the past from 2015 through 2021, we literally, whether you were conscious of it or not was irrelevant, we literally moved through those stages of energy to arrive in 2022 where consciousness is stabilizing you in your ascended presence, and that's now where you're remaining. And I'm going to explain this more in just a moment with another graphic. Or you plummeted all the way back down to the root and are stabilizing there. And this is what you're seeing in humanity. I found it fascinating, and this is without judgment, it's just a fascinating observation, that as yesterday when we were with our miracle team and we were sharing about how we're entering into these 2 cycles of the crystalline moon, I simultaneously had an article sent to me that of a book burning in the United States where crystals were thrown in as well, where crystals were being burned, and that, or not that they would burn, but they were being thrown into the fire as signs of fear and hatred, with a lot of fear and hatred around them. And I found that to be so, of course, in divine perfection. Number one, as the reality that the Sea of Neutrality is here, holding the balance. If you want to burn books, if you want to burn crystals, if you want to judge people, then that's your right and your choice to do. as long as the balance can be sustained so that the all may have the ability to be. It is when our choices directly affect another negatively that we are outside the universal law of harmony. And this is why the ascended chakras, and I'm going to answer the question that had come in was, I think I shared it already. What chakra is now the root chakra in the ascension? Well, first and foremost, you need to understand the ascended chakra system. And Shri, while I'm showing this, would you please pull up a Divine Galactic Blueprint?
Let me find one.
So what you're staring at here right now is the 2022 ignition of the self-ascended chakra portrait. So if you were to look at this, but I really wanted you to see it now in this energy, but if you were to remove those three words that say energy, please show the screen. You stopped my share. Yes, you did. So please stop and go back to my share.
It's on.
Okay, thank you. I need to see it. Thank you. So as you're gazing at this, down at the very bottom, you see, I'm going to use the cursor. You see that red infinity symbol, and then you have the orange and the yellow, and then right there is the ascended heart. All right. That is your chakras first stabilizing in the love trust energy. Remember that chakras are normally seen as orbs. And for the first 2,000 years of the way that this energy has been working on this planet in this moment right now, those chakras needed to stay in an orbital experience to be able to assist you to have and be through the consciousness evolution of this planet. Now, right now, and since the year 2000, and when Shri and I were invited by the Ascended Realms to start sharing the Yoga of Self-Ascension back in 2003 again, it has all been about expanding that orbital energy into infinite presence, thereby assisting the central nervous system to begin to feel comfortable lifting. Because when we lift, we then stabilize the heart center outside of the emotional realms that are tied to a third eye of vision that is still based upon a consciousness receiving it in this world's framework, right? And by stabilizing the ascended heart, we open up a double helix, which invites this to become our root center. When we keep our root at the base of the spine, which has been this is the dramatic thing that happened in 2022, that when we got to that top of that ascension escalator, either you stepped into ascended awareness, which is the foundation of the expansion of all consciousness, or it was a direct plummet back into the root center, which is not being invited to lift again anytime soon. Hence why the perception of polarity, authoritarianism, fundamentalism, judgment has become so rich. The gift of that is that for those that choose, because it is always our choice, to lift into the ascended realm of awareness, we are actively living the cycle of ascension, which is and will always be awareness, experience, choice. And that is sustained through our ascended chakra system, which is the Divine Galactic Blueprint, which is what you're gazing at here. And down at the bottom, you'll see right at the bottom is that in the heart, that is that ascended heart that becomes the root center and holds that open. Now, I can't believe how quickly time rolls. So
yeah.
I don't want to spend more time on that, but what I do want to say is this. Number one, if this is anywhere saying, wow, maybe I want to know more about that, go to shriandkara.com where this is all free. It is all there. You can learn all about it. There's even a free ebook. And we have been teaching this. Shri and I have just started our 20th consecutive year of public service. And what we know is that because so many of you are saying yes to expanded consciousness, that the Sea of Neutrality is here now. That's why we brought this show back, to support you. That's why as lineage holders, we are gathering twice a month, every Monday, and tomorrow night is that Monday. Get there, be there, because we must take a jump. There is so much happening.
You know, it's important to breathe in to your foundation, which is your heart.
Yes.
Relax the mind, which we'll never fully understand, because it's the nature of the mind to look for what it's missing. Okay? So come back to the heart. Breathe there and say to yourself, I am love.
Yes.
I trust my divine nature.
Yes.
Because the trust that we're talking about, which is the essential energy of your lift, your self-ascension, it starts here. And the traditional chakra system that was dominant before the ascended chakra system, the divine galactic blueprint, returned to this planet because of the timing and the cycles and the availability of you to move into your divine nature more fully.
Yes.
That the lower chakras are the ones that will pull you back into density if we do not anchor our love and our trust. And from this foundation, we lift up into amazing states of beingness and consciousness.
You know, let's put that up again for you, because I want to make sure that you really have a moment. And after showing this to you, I do want to share you again the February graphic, just the energy of February, because as you're gazing at the Divine Galactic Blueprint here, notice at the bottom, those are the shoulders, head and shoulders of a being. So you notice that the heart is the root center. Now, this is not the physical heart. Remember that other graphic. I just want to go back for a moment, because the first time you look at this, it might be a little confusing, and we want to make sure we can keep it clear for you. This is where we begin. We begin by stabilizing our chakra energy into the gift of this beautiful infinite presence. It transmutes the first chakra. You know, the first three chakras have traditionally been about what? Safety, sex, and power, right? That's it. Safety, sex, and power. If you lift your heart, that's considered to be such a grand thing to do, because in the world of density, it is. It means that you break free of a me and you begin to open your eyes to see we. Yet it still has its limitations. So how we expand, and you see there's this golden spiral energy. And if you look deep into this, you're going to see that golden spiral energy. So when you move up, counting from the bottom up, the red, the orange, the yellow, and then right there you see the double green, the green and the gold seed. That is the moment where we trust more than just the density. To activate the high heart, some call it, the ascended heart, to really call that in, is that moment where we know that we have shifted from a fear-based reality to a trust-based reality. Remembering that the word love is so powerful and so strong and so misunderstood.
Yes.
That this is why in the realms of the ascended masters, it is the utilization of a word that in this experience of form, we experience as the word trust. Yes. And it is an all-encompassing moment. So as you're feeling that, and as that gift is moving forward, we want to show you just the background of the month of February. Now, this was what became the calendar that we showed you earlier, the February calendar, but this is the entire month. And you may even want to take a moment, close your eyes, maybe guide us through a nice Ave Sa breath tree.
Yeah, let's bring a hand to our heart and focus on the divine. Ave on the inhale. Here we go. Sa. And again, Ave. Sa.
There we are. And opening our eyes, I want to bring you deeper into this graphic. I'm going to make it just a little bigger. Hopefully you're able to see all the detail. But one of the things, I'm going to use the cursor again, is you notice the numbers. You see the numbers right here? The spiraling of the numbers. What's important to pay attention to is that we are now outside of all experiences of linear time. Yes, we have watches. Yes, this show is on at noon Eastern time in this realm of experience. And given all of that, as the you that is the master, that is calling in the expansion of consciousness through this form, if you gaze at this graphic for the February energy, I want you to notice down at the bottom, you are the pillar of light. You see how there's just that sense of a form there, just a sense of one that would be carrying the form that we are utilizing right now as the light and as the ignition, as the inner crystalline experience. And all of this energy has come in to sustain you, should you choose to be in that experience. I call it the free fall of trust into that which you are, whereby the emergent energy, that which is right in front of you, the natural flow, the natural abundance, that law of instantaneous manifestation is yours to harness and command with every breath.
Speaking of breath, remember the Ave Saw breath is a gateway to anchoring and expanding your ascended heart energy.
Absolutely.
When we breathe with presence, we're already more receptive. When we hold the intention, Ave, I choose to recognize the divine. We hold that intention, Ave on the inhale, we are inhaling the sacred prana.
Yes.
And the Saw on the exhale is releasing all resistance, all need to control it. I am in flow with the divine. So the key here is that your breath will help sustain the ascended heart, which opens that sea of neutrality as an availability. How many times have you meditated or had a wonderful experience where you just felt deep peace? That is the foundation of trust.
Yes, yes.
Deep peace is the firmament upon which consciousness interacts and creates the flow that can only happen through trust. Divine flow is your birthright.
Yes.
Infinite abundance is your birthright. And the ego shell, the personality self, is not anchored in that beingness. The ego personality self is anchored in the density of a consciousness of the world.
Yes.
That's what it's born for. It's here to help you navigate crossing the street and driving a car and all those fun things we do in density. However, your divine identity, the true authenticity that is you, is infinitely connected and infinitely available, and we must choose to call it forward in order to live that life of peace, love, and joy in every moment.
Peace, love, and joy in every moment is when the first, second, and third chakra have stabilized from the need for safety and the preoccupation with safety to the peace, which is what? The trust that the universe is in that emergent state of presence, right?
Yes.
Then we look at that second chakra. Instead of sex, it's about love, right? Peace. You must first establish that peace, or the love is coming from a space of need rather than a space of wholeness. And that second chakra is that co-creative power. So look at the energy of peace coming in. Look at this year, right? You have that energy of peace in that first chakra. You have that co-creative energy, right? All of that in the second chakra. And then that third chakra, which Sri was just sharing again, it's peace, love, then the joy. It's that eternal joy that can never be taken away because it's not dependent on anything that's happening around you. It is the momentum of your divine being. Energy, first chakra. Co-creation, second chakra. Momentum, third chakra. Breathe that in. I'm going to go back to the graphic. We've been showing you this entire day because it's that important. That is this year, and that is this month as the microcosm of the year. And it's all about February 6th as the initiator, which is right now. And that's why today is so powerful. That's why we're making this jump tomorrow. When you gaze at the 2022 miracle flow, right? This is the Merkaba energy. This is this year. That energy, co-creative power, momentum is outside of the body now. It's not just putting that first, second, and third chakra into that sense where we can, I'm going to use the cursor, see that, where we can ignite our high heart, thereby staying in the infinite spiral of creation. What this has done is said that that energy of peace, love, and joy as energy, co-creation, momentum is now overlaying at all levels. So the question is the who that is receiving this, because it's happening. Whether or not you're aware of it, you're either going to have, because remember, I'm going to go back to that 7 polarities of free will again, because I really want to make sure this is clear for all of you. And remember, if you have questions, you can put them into the chat over at YouTube. And so in the 7 polarities of free will, in 2015, was when humanity had to move through its first chakra and discover hate or peace. It was the invitation of the ascension awareness. Remember, all ascension begins with awareness. And so 2015 was a huge line in the sand. You know, everybody kept saying it was 2012, and we were the ones who were living with the Mayan, who were crying in our arms saying, why is everybody making money off of a lie? And we wrote the books, they're all out there still, that said it was going to be 2015 through 2021 that would lead us to this moment of 2022. So right now in 2022, you are either back at that first chakra of hate and peace, which is violence, intolerance, me focus, possession, all of those things, or you are living in that emergent peace of your ascended presence, thereby through that stabilization of your ascended chakra system, which is the divine galactic blueprint. And again, just go to shrinkira.com. You can learn about all of this. It's all free. Learn about it. That is the choice. To be living with your heart as the foundation of your ascended presence, thereby gifting you with the ability to sustain multidimensional presence. So what is multidimensional presence? Multidimensional presence is simply the ability to have enough compassion for yourself to be able to sustain the greater picture, the greater view, which is the 5th dimensional experience, and thereby to be able to lift from there. So dear Shri and Kira, we have another question. What's the effect of the ascension escalator on starseeds? Well, first of all, to let go of being a name. So let's go, and I appreciate you might not enjoy that answer because obviously you're identified, and that's good, right? We all start, you know, walk-in, starseed, crystal child, whatever. Could you just let it all go? How many more labels do we need to put on each other? Why are we still separating ourselves by saying, but what about me? How's it affecting me? How's it affecting just starseeds? How's it affecting just these? How about celebrating that you could say or inquire a deeper inquiry of multidimensional presence that says, how is this affecting the all? Well, the greatest response is that through your awareness as a starseed, and I'm going to say as a former starseed because I could say a lot of things about the walk-in energy experiences, the intergalactic communications, the ascended master overlay, all of that, yet it limits, does it not? So I love this question because what you're really saying is, help me stop thinking about just myself and me or what I consider to be my people. And what about how is energy, co-creation, and momentum affecting the limitless field of consciousness that we are? This is an invitation. We're going to treat you like adults here because if you're here, you're a master. If you want somebody to tell you all the lies, then honestly, don't listen to this show. I'm serious. If you want the controversy, go listen somewhere else. But if you really want to make a difference through expanding your consciousness, through saying yes to holding open the Sea of Neutrality, then this is the moment to go beyond that which you think you know and invite your divine master to illuminate and come in as one voice. Mm-hmm. And we have more questions coming in, but I want to talk about that one voice because this is what's happening in March. Remember, we're opening up starting next week. You're going to want to be here next week. Starting on February 16, that first of 2 crystalline full moon amps is coming in hard. And when it does, and just like this question about, well, how does it affect starseeds or how does it affect just these people? In March, we are gathering all of us together.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about it, Sri? That'd be great.
And so there's 2 things I want to share that I've been wanting to.
Well, let's first make sure if you want to learn about March before we go off that subject.
I'm not going off.
Okay, all right, great.
So one of the reasons the March event is, quote, on the books is there's been a call to contribute a unifying energy, to bring the tribes, to bring the spiritual legacy holders, those lineage holders together, to join in our commonality, to join through mutual respect, and to co-create an upliftment together. One of the things that, and this information is available, you can find it at shriankira.com. There's a little pop-up, click there, go learn about the event. More's coming, so keep checking back.
Check out unifyingvoices.world. That'll give you a lot more info.
Absolutely. So one of the things that is upon us as a collective is to take action with our choices.
Yes.
Which is different than taking reaction based on our beliefs.
Woo! Say that again. I think that's one that needs to be underlined.
So when we take action based upon a conscious choice, we are propelling ourselves into new territory. When we are reactive based upon our dogmatic belief systems, which we may not even know are dogmatic, they're simply the mental structures upon which we are relying to feel safe.
Right.
So when we react based upon that challenged my belief, or I'm not sure that's right, what we're doing is setting up a positionality in the fabric of the universe. We're saying us versus them, me versus thee. And that tension can either help you break through to a new unifying level of being, or will help you stay really righteously stuck in, I believe this and they believe that, and we're different, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the polarity continues. So there's always an opportunity to choose again. The key here, and I love the question about the star seeds and all of that, is these concepts are just that. They are overlays.
They're dogmas.
They are overlays to help us understand, perhaps, to help the mind of density understand that some souls are coming in with a little different agenda or composition than others. And rather than try to label and diagnose, the key is to recognize that all souls are here by choice. And that all are contributing to this grand fabric.
Yes.
And so as we celebrate that all are here and all are contributing, we move out of the need to categorize, judge, and impose a hierarchy, and we stay in the neutrality of the celebration.
Yes.
That we are conscious, we are alive, we are here, and now what's your choice?
And breathe that in, because we have a lot of questions coming in. I want to get to these because these are all so important. And what Shri just said. So what is your choice? You are not a victim. And yet you are here by choice through the sacred sequence of incarnation, right? You are here by choice because of what's happening here, because of this convergence of consciousness. And this is why, with all my heart and soul, get to Monday Magic, where we go deep with this and where we do something about it, where we are proactive. And so a lot of people saying, you know, I'm having a lot of meltdowns right now. That is okay. And it's really all right. What doesn't matter is you say, well, other people probably think I'm crazy. It doesn't matter what they think, does it? What matters is what you know. In the presence of your divine knowing, regardless to the perception of the lens of density, nothing is more profoundly beautiful, productive, and abundant than you being you. And knowing the truth of who you are, that carries with it the greatest power of anything. And so what's happening right now, especially if you've been in the conscious experience of the ascended up level, which many are, which is why we're so honored to be shepherding people through the divine mastery presence. And it's just been outrageously incredible and an honor to be with you so intimately this year. And what's happening is that the central nervous system is responding to the frequency fluctuations that are happening in this experience of consciousness. This is happening. Your mind wanting to understand it is actually what limits your ability to flow with it. And the next question we have is, what crystals are best to pray with? Always the one that brings you the greatest joy. The one that calls to you. That's not a question for us to answer. That's a question for you to know. And I will share that Shri and I have an exhaustive collection because it's the one that's calling to you, or the one that's in front of you. And it brings me to this next question, because this next one's really important. It says, hey, do all of our chakras have chakras? And the answer is yes. Actually, for those of you that have been with us in Monday Magic, the 12 there are what's known as 144 chakras. However, those chakras, we do not have chakras within chakras. There are chakras that exist within the energy fields of density. And we're not here to talk about that because it's all dogma. It's all dogma. Even the word chakras that we're using, the words that the ascended realms offer us to offer to each of us here, is only so that we can relax the mind of density enough to actually receive the greater conscious awareness. So when we're looking here, and these were the traditional chakras, right? We have our root, first chakra, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then the eighth chakra, the lotus chakra. When those chakras ascend and move into the divine galactic blueprint experience, these 12, that'll show you the 12, it begins with the ascended heart. There's 1, then we go up right here, and what you consider to be the third eye actually becomes a 4-pointed opening that the archangelic realm calls the exploded crown. And you notice that's that violet ray energy that sustains you in the 5th dimension. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This then becomes the gateway to the 9th dimensional golden frequency, which can only come through the release of the judgment of self and others, that opens up the next 4 points, that then becomes the chalice, these 2 points, that holds open the rainbow presence, which is the field of neutrality. Because the field of neutrality is born from the 33rd crystalline dimension and sustained by the consciousness frequency of those that are able to lift up into 9th dimensional harmonic experience. And the mastery of the Yoga of Self-Ascension does exactly that. And so that is important to understand, because those 12 chakras of the ascended system each have 12 more that, if you're in the divine mastery journey, I've already shown you all that experience. And so, yes, it does. All right. The flesh and the material body is influenced by the mind and energy. Well, it's influenced by everything. It's created by us. We are, through the sacred sequence of incarnation, which if you've taken mastery soul charting and ascended numerology, it's where I teach all of that. But through the sacred sequence of incarnation, we literally imagine, and I'm going to let Sri talk more about this. Imagine that you're a comet, right? It's the easiest way. So imagine that you're a comet, and you're this limitless comet that is this beautiful gift of all essence, all energy. And in the self-awareness of the love experience of that which is through the conscious expansion, the you, that truth of that which you are, that divine mastery presence, absolutely not, the first thing you select as a comet is here. It's this planet in this experience of form, in this experience of what is considered to even be time. And so that's the first thing you do. That's part of the sacred sequence of incarnation. Then you pick where. So not only have you demarcated this planet, then you demarcate where on this planet. Where is all that going to happen? And you're also demarcating that through a specific moment of, I'm going to go to this planet at this time. And then you actually are received by the energy of those that are already here through your name. It's through your name that you're actually bringing all of that in. And that's the first moment where the material body is influenced by the mind and energy.
Yeah. It is indeed powerful. And I invite you to relax your minds. I want to share a few more words that may or may not help you with that relaxation.
Yes.
Have mercy on yourself.
Yes.
We're evolving into ever greater discernment and ever greater conscious knowings. Herein is one phrase. Your life is paradoxical. Mm-hmm. Everything here is a paradox because you are not your body. Your body is a sacred vessel that you are in union with in order to be here, yes, enjoying form. However, when we talk about things and the chakras and the crystals, it's always engaging that cultivated identity of separation, that I am separate from and I'm needing to get back together with, right?
Thereby I am not whole.
Exactly. It's rooted in the belief that there's something wrong with me or something wrong with them. And so in the separation, we keep trying to heal society and our world back into wholeness. And every great tradition on the planet at some point reminds us it's all in here. So the one thing that we can practice, because your mind is a great habit, is to practice returning to your heart with each breath. I am love. I am trust. And to watch the mind rather than let the mind completely envelop you. When we can begin to watch our thoughts, not do battle with them, just notice them.
Notice is the word.
Our entire life is our meditation.
Yes.
And from that, the freedom to notice the energy that is propelling the thoughts. When we notice the energy behind the thoughts, we're now getting behind the emotional reality into the essential reality. And this process, I won't say more right now, the process is natural. Your soul does know the way.
Yes.
And we are in a field of paradoxical cooperation with the body and the emotion and the thoughts to allow the soul to lead. And so we will dance. We'll dance with our thoughts. We'll dance with our emotions. We're going to dance with body stuff. And it's just that, stuff.
Well, and it is. And it's about knowing that you are not the victim. Remember, all victims need a rescuer and an abuser. And anytime you are blaming, anytime you say that there's been, oh, everybody doesn't understand me is a victim issue. Oh, all my communications are being misunderstood. That's a victim. It's subtle and it's big. And what it is the ego saying, I refuse to let the divine master in. When the reality is that it's who you are. Remember that the victim, the rescuer, and the abuser, because oftentimes all three roles are within the self, right, is here to transform, to become the teacher, the healer, and the mentor. And that is the way out. Rather than gazing at things through the victim energy, mentor your own self, shepherd you, knowing that you deserve it. This is an extraordinary moment in our history. And this week for you is profound. And remember that tomorrow night, Monday Magic, all of you lineage holders, be there. We're going to be there. Monday Magic will not be broadcast on YouTube at all. It is just for those that are serious enough to say, yes, I see that the Sea of Neutrality has value, that the miracle of our collective experience is worth paying attention to, that all of those that are choosing to incarnate into bodies now have the rich blessing of being able to experience the blessing of this consciousness, this co-creation, as we had the blessing of experiencing it. Let us come together, because together we are better.
Yes.
We love you so much.
Beloved ones, go over to ShriandKira.com, click on the events page, click on the Monday Magic, and discover for yourself the infinite amount of support and joy that is available as you soften the habit of pain and embrace the habit of being truly authentic.
Absolutely. Read the books, get to the website. We love you. Hey, lineage holders, we're going to see you tomorrow night for the jump.